Okay, this is Inside Out, chapters 21, 22, and 23. So, our last video for this book. Woo! Okay. Chapter 21, Letter from Miss Emily Wasted to Dr. Cal Curtis. Thank you for your honesty about Zach. Once you've seen your only child with a rifle in his mouth, it can't get a whole lot worse, except, of course, for the possibility that one day I might not get home in time. The phone rings. Alan picks it up. Hello, he says, then okay. He presses the phone speaker button again. I hear Dr. Kurt's voice. Can you all hear me, he asks. Alan and Joey both say yes. I nod my head again. I'm not supposed to talk because the cops are listening. Alan says, Zach's all right. We can all hear you. Dr. Kurt explains that he has read the cops' agreement and it looks all right. Alan asks Dr. Kurt, you sure? Dr. Kurt answers, well, I'm not a lawyer, Alan, but even if they wanted to lie, we have everything in writing. They can't go back on it. Alan takes a deep breath. He looks around the coffee shop. I follow his eyes. There's a stack of tablecloths in the cupboard in the corner and some boxes of plastic and styrofoam cups. I hear the hum of the freezer from the little closet. Below where Alan is standing, there's a puddle of blood from his towel bandage, and there's other blood spattered in different sized drops all across the floor. Finally, Alan turns to Joey and says, That's it, Joey, it's over. Joey shrugs. Okay. Alan turns and says to the speakerphone, Okay, Dr. Curtis, tell the police we're coming out. We give up. Also tell them, please, that our guns aren't loaded. Alan pauses a second and looks down at his hand. We're going to come out now. We give up. But I'm going to need a doctor. Chapter 22. Clinical note by Dr. Cal Curtis. In the years that I have worked with Zach, he has progressed to the point where he usually copes pretty well with his illness. He still struggles to understand reality, and in ways this can make him seem retarded. Zach has an above-average IQ, but the limitations of his illness make it difficult for him to understand when he is in danger. My lip has stopped bleeding, but it is kind of puffy. It feels weird. I'm walking in front as the three of us move across the coffee shop to the front door. The windows of the coffee shop are all sparkly with the big spotlight the police are shining in on us. When I reach the front door of the coffee shop, I pull it toward me, and the little bell goes ting-a-ling. We walk out. Alan and Joey are crouching down, right behind me. I guess they're still not sure the police won't shoot them. We move slowly. It's dark out, but all the police cars are lined up next to each other, their lights flashing, and cops squat down behind the cars with shotguns and handguns pointed right at us. Some people are standing way back, some behind some yellow tape. I wonder if my mom is back there. I guess she's worried for me, because that's what moms do. Just step forward slowly, boys, and nobody will get hurt, the big microphone booms out. Okay, I yell back, and I notice several of the cops jerk at the sound of my voice. I'm used to having guns pointed at me by now, so I don't care. But I wonder if the cops' guns have bullets in them. I yell, Do you guys have any bullets? There is a pause for a second. Then the microphone guy yells, Don't worry about that. Everything is fine. I yell, Good! Back to him. But the truth is I can't stop thinking about everything that's happened in these last hours. Frosty and Stormy. Alan and Joey. Laurel and Hardy. The old ladies. And the little girl's mom touching my arm and how pretty she was. Up yours, I say to the voice. Now, son, just stay calm. You're doing fine. Alan behind me whispers, Just be quiet, Zach, all right? I say, sure. Lay your weapons down and slide them away from you. Then lie face down on the ground. I don't have a weapon. My clothes will get all dirty if I lie down. I didn't try to rob the coffee shop. I yell to the microphone, Why do I have to lie on the ground? I hear Alan's voice behind me again. Just do it, Zach. I look back at Alan. He and Joey are already lying down. They push their guns away from them. Little sparks fly off the little black gun as it slides along the pavement. In another second, Alan and Joey lie all flat out like pancakes on the cement. I can't help but laugh. The cops don't laugh, though. They still have all their guns pointed right at us. At me, actually. I think again about everything that's happened. Alan's face with the slivers in it, and his hand bleeding onto the floor, and Joey getting mad and hitting me, and Dirtbag and Rat showing up, and the little girl peeing in her dress, and suddenly, I remember. I spin around quickly and go back into the coffee shop. I have to slow down a little to make sure I don't step on Joey or accidentally kick Alan's hurt hand. Hold your fire, the microphone voice yells. Stop! Hold your fire! I keep moving. Push the coffee shop door open and race back inside. When I come back out, just a minute later, the police are putting Joey in handcuffs and holding Alan by his arms. A policeman rushes up to grab me too, but he stops when he sees the 3 maple bars I'm holding. 1 for Alan, 1 for Joey, and 1 for me. "What's wrong with you, boy? You almost got yourself killed," he says. He sounds mad. A moment later, my mom pushes him out of the way. He spins around toward Mom, but Dr. Kurt steps between them. "Hold on," Dr. Kurt says. The policeman says, "I have to talk to him. We need to interrogate him." Dr. Kurt says, "No, you don't. Not unless you want every TV station in town showing you jerking around a sick kid." Dr. Kurt nods at some men with TV cameras racing towards us. "Really," Dr. Kurt says calmly to the policeman. "Take it easy, officer. It's okay. Relax. This kid needs his medication. You can have him in just a minute." I look at the policeman and he takes a deep breath. I've seen Dr. Kurt talk the same way to patients in the hospital about 1,000,000 times. The cop shrugs his shoulders and turns away. Mom gives me a big hug. I'm not so crazy about hugs, but if it makes her feel better, I guess it's all right. I try not to get any maple bar on her. Dr. Kurt steps over to the police and Alan and Joey. They're all talking, although Joey's not saying much. More people from around the parking lot rush forward now, and the guys with the TV cameras start to shove them in my face. Everybody stares at me. Mom puts her arm around me and says to the TV people, "My son is a minor, and you have no release or permission to show his image on the air. I can't wait to see you try it." In about 2 seconds, all the TV cameras turn away from us and start to follow Alan and Joey. Suddenly, a skinny lady steps through the rest of the people and walks right up to Alan and Joey. Joey looks up and bursts into tears. He says, "I'm sorry, Mom." The lady puts her arm around him, and he hides his face against her shoulder. Alan is fighting back his tears, his lower lip shaking. "I'm sorry too, Mama." He says, "It's all my fault." Their mom reaches out with her other arm, and Alan steps toward her. All the police stand back and let Alan and Joey's mom hug her sons. She has tears in her eyes. Of course, I don't know how she feels, but she doesn't look mad. She whispers some things to Alan and Joey, and after a couple seconds, Alan actually smiles a little bit, and Joey takes a couple of real deep breaths, then stops crying. Joey lifts his head up. The 3 of them, surrounded by the cops, start to walk toward the police cars and an ambulance. Dr. Kurt walks back over to me and asks, "How you doing, Zach?" I answer, "I don't know." It's the truth. Dr. Kurt says to me, "You did very well today." I did? Yes. You helped all those other hostages earlier, and you helped Alan and Joey. Everyone appreciates what you did. Without even thinking that I'm going to say it, suddenly the words just fly out of my mouth. "Can I have all 3 of these maple bars then?" The reason I ask is that it doesn't look like Alan and Joey can have theirs. They're already leaving. My mom smiles and hugs me. "Yes, Zach," she says. "I wonder if the President of the United States gets all the maple bars he wants, anytime he wants them. I wonder what the ocean would look like if they emptied out all the water and filled it up with the stuff they put on the top of maple bars." "Zach," Mom says, "here you go." She holds out my medicine with a bottle of water. I hand Dr. Kurt my maple bars, gulp down my pills real fast, and then grab the treats back. I glance at my watch. It's late. I want to go home. I look over at Alan and Joey and their mom one last time. Alan looks back at me too. They all stop walking, and now all 3 of them are looking at me. I wave goodbye. Joey turns away, but Alan nods his head. Their mom smiles at me and says thank you. I say, "You're welcome. Thanks for coming." Then I almost add, "Have a nice day," but even I know that would be inappropriate. I take a huge bite of maple bar. Perfect. Time to go home. And the last is chapter 23, 3 months later. This is an article from a newspaper. It says, "Mender brothers sentenced as juveniles. Coffee siege ends with a deadly twist." By Kelly Hillstead, correspondent, Spokane Intelligencer. Spokane. After months of mental evaluations and a firestorm of public controversy, Alan and Joseph Mender, 17 and 14, were sentenced today to 9 months in juvenile detention and 2 years probation after their attempted holdup of Sunshine Espresso on North Francis last October. Defense attorneys insisted the brothers were driven to desperation by the burden of their mother's cancer diagnosis and costly treatments. Opponents lambasted the light sentence, insisting it sent a misleading message to other teens. In a tragic twist, Zachary Wasted, a teen hostage and apparent hero of the coffee shop saga, committed suicide at his mother's home just a week ago. According to Dr. Calvin Curtis, who also testified on the Mender brothers' behalf, 16-year-old Wasted had struggled for several years with schizophrenia. This disease is a chemical brain disorder that frequently leaves victims haunted by phantom voices and unable to define or deal with reality as we know it. It was a good day for the Mender boys, Curtis said in a telephone interview. But the death of Zach certainly casts a dark shadow over it. For Zach to have survived all the dangers of the holdup, only to die by his own hand, a victim of the dangers inside himself, is tragic. Unfortunately, deaths like Zach's are all too common in patients suffering from schizophrenia. Curtis concluded, Zachary Wastad was a good kid who had a terrible illness. He was much beloved. He'll be missed. And that is the end of Inside Out.